Welcome to the Anchor Premier Podcast, where we aim to translate real estate into reality. We hope to educate and entertain and invite you into the conversation. Myself, Brian Cohen, and my co-hosts, Elliot McWhorter and Johnny Dugan. If you have a comment or an idea for a topic or interview, please leave it below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that when new episodes come out, you're the first to know. Now let's get to it.
We did it. Welcome back to the Anchor Premier Podcast, where every day we aim to translate realty into reality.
Yeah, I like translate.
There we go.
Translate works good. Hey, if you have a idea for how to do an intro and like maybe a script,
a script, yeah,
or you do voiceovers professionally and you'd like to
exactly.
actually do the voiceover, we'd love to have somebody
absolutely
to do it.
with some intro music. Bring it in, the whole nine. Crowd, call that crowdsourcing.
Crowdsourcing.
Put it in the comments below.
Yeah.
So today we realize we're not narcissists enough.
Yep.
Even though we do a podcast and just basically talk to ourselves, but we want to do a "Who are you?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
So people tell us to get out there and let people see you and hear your voice and who are you?
Yeah.
And in this business, truth be told, actually, we spent a good bit of time on our last podcast talking about being interviewed and, people can go on, see your online presence and get a sense of your chemistry and that kind of thing. I guess knowing a little bit about who we are and where we come from can also help. So that's what we're going to do. So we got the basic dating questions that we're going to go over, and then see how we feel about it, and then probably talk about something silly like cars.
How many kids do you want? Where do you see yourself getting married?
I'm at 2 kids, and 2 seems just fine.
What size diamond ring what do you require?
2 and done counting.
Awesome. Want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. I'll start us off. So, I was born and raised in Maryland, Southern Maryland, which is not Baltimore. It's like a whole different world, and it's a
little place called West Virginia.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Now, Southern Maryland. I lived there until I was 22. But I got all my schooling there, so I can always blame them. Went to the mighty college of Charles County Community College, which is now the mighty, they were Screaming Eagles. Now they're the mighty College of Southern Maryland. So big time stuff, and got my associates in engineering there, and then moved on to Bigger and Brighter Lights in Tampa, Florida, and I ended up working for. As a contractor to Special Operations Command down there. And they pulled me in as like, hey, we're going to work with robots and stuff. This is back in the 1900s, okay? And then 9/11 happens, and everything military got real intense, of course. And so I got to be a part of that, and I got to deploy to a bunch of different parts in the world, working with military operators, special forces predominantly. And that was super rewarding. And along the way, I knew that real estate was going to be something that I was going to be just in for the rest of my life. It's one of those things people say, well, why are you interested in real estate? I don't know. Why are you interested in football? I love it. What can I say? It's just something that interests me. So in 2005, I started an investment company with a partner. And I bought a bunch of houses, and some to flip and some to rent. And then I was, my saying is, I was driving my final nail on the final house I was going to flip, and that popped the bubble. I had all these real estate holdings that I felt great about on paper. I wasn't making a ton of money like monthly, but it felt good to be in the business and all those things. And then 2008, 2009, and it all evaporated quite quickly. It made my career stronger because I had to go back to work. So I got to do the contracting for another decade. But the point there is that's really when I got into real estate. I've always been plugged into real estate ever since, and I knew that when I got out of contracting, and I did it for 20 some years, got to go to Afghanistan a couple times, Philippines, Germany. So the military folks that happen to see or hear this know what's going on in all those places. And that was all super cool. And most of these careers run their course right around 20 years. That's when you kind of become, you're at an administrative level at some point, and you're kind of pushing papers. And it's cool to still be involved. But to the real hands-on involvement seemed to be fading. Mm-hmm. And so I knew at that point I was probably going to get out and go, get into real estate or back into a more full-time real estate role. And then that's what I did. And kind of simultaneously, I moved to Georgia. I had my Florida real estate license, and then I moved to Georgia and got it here, and then, launched this career with Anchor. So I love the places I've been and lived, and they're all beautiful. I love it here in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I do have a family, a beautiful wife, and 2 kids. And like I said, two and done counting, I think. And 2 and 4 right now. And the notes I had written down were, what are your favorite things to do outside of real estate? And 2 and 4-year-old. That's kind of all I really have the capability of handling. I do have an old classic car, 48 Dodge. I love the old cars. We were talking cars about that. So that's my hobby. And hobby is cars and craftsmanship, woodworking. I'd love to dive more into that. But again, that's a time suck that I don't have with a young family. But yeah, that's the synopsis. Getting here. Yeah. I love the one of the greatest things about real estate is being able to, exercise your creativity with your marketing, exercise your service. I know you got a service-oriented background too, to other folks and your fellow countrymen. So that's my wrap up.
Yeah, that's good.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go, sure. Since I got like a bode to service. Yeah. I'll start with a family. I have a wife named Megan, who is awesome, and a little boy named Bear, and he's 2, and he's incredible. And so, like, I definitely, and Elliot's got young kids. I'm not going to give his kids up either until he does, but it is an adventure, as well as it does definitely take time. But at the same time, I mean, so my old career was I was a firefighter paramedic for almost a decade. I started school in like 2008 after doing sales and a bunch of other stuff that was very unfulfilling, and that was a way to serve because I felt like selling was a very self-serving career. It's actually, I think that kind of sentiment kind of plays into kind of what we were discussing earlier about, we're not good about talking about ourselves because we're like, I would say that the sentiment of that is like you're outward focused. I'm focused on, serving the people that I can serve and helping people out and stuff like that. So, that is kind of an interesting twist for us doing this today is because we don't naturally talk about ourselves.
Right. This does not come naturally.
Yeah. And, it's kind of like I used to always say, like, whenever I met somebody who had been in the service for a long time, regardless of what the service was, like a public service or military service or whatever, if they were a little bit bitter, I just realized, that servants don't stand up for themselves. Mm-hmm. So, it's just kind of just different for us. But, so love hanging out with my family, and luckily this job gives me the opportunity to be present with my family and to do things that, that maybe a traditional structure wouldn't necessarily afford you. And, for me, it was being gone 24 hours and then getting home, dog tired because he hadn't slept, and then, trying to recover, spend some time doing all the things that you got to do and hanging out with your wife and all that kind of stuff. This is before I had kids. And I I just realized, I enjoy parts of this job, but like I miss my kids already and I don't even have them, So I honestly, like I spent a lot of time in prayer about it, and I felt like, that I had to do something, and real estate was always something that was just really intriguing to me. Like I always grew up as somebody who would look at something and be like, man, we could make something out of that. And so I always saw myself as an investor or a developer. I didn't really ever see myself as somebody who served others. Not so much, but like I always felt like, my side was the building side, like the building and creating side, not so much like the transactional side. And, somebody just said, hey, I think you'd be really good at this. And we had a little bit of success in real estate when we lived in Boston. We bought a off-market condo just over the line between like super gentrified and starting to gentrify. And maybe essentially I redid the inside. And when we moved, we did great on it. And it was kind of like reignited that bug in me that had been going for a long time. I too gave a shot at investing in residential houses. Had one in DeKalb, and that was in 2006 or 2007, and that evaporated for me. It's funny you made that joke because I always say I started the recession the moment that I put my sign in the ground. For sale. Oh, ga, ga, ga. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. I did that. I apologize. My bad.
I literally felt like I did it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, it's because it's like, it's cool. Like if I can't sell it, I can rent it. Wrong.
That's exactly the thing. No, I rented it out of desperation. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
I rented it out of desperation to someone who couldn't pay.
Yeah.
And then I ended up having to evict them in the process of trying to short sell because the market had crashed. So keep going.
Yeah. So, so I knew the risk that I took. I wasn't all like shell shocked or nothing from it, but I definitely learned a lot. But at the same time, when you have that experience, sometimes you gotta be like, I think I'm probably gonna take a little while before I go do that again. So that brought me into real estate. 2000, I got my license in 2018, I think, something like that. And just been getting after it since.
So full disclosure, you and I have known each other a little bit now, but I have to ask you this question. Is your son's name Bear? I've always thought it was Barrett, and you called him Bear.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, his name would be outright Bear if I didn't have a wife.
Okay.
So she is like, okay, we can call him Bear, but he has to have a real name. And she'd always say, oh, he has to have a real name in case he wants to be president. And I was like, well, first off, I wouldn't wish that on him. Like, I don't think we want to set him up for failure like that.
By the way, if Bear Cohen is a fine presidential name, there's no his political status won't be affected with the first name.
If anything, people
not down here.
Unless he's like a snowflake, which that could. He have a very strong name and a very weak constitution. Yes, his real name is Barrett, but I don't ever.
I was always scared to
don't
ask.
Don't ever really call him that.
That's probably one of the hardest questions I have to ask people.
Sure.
Can you repeat your name, or can you spell your name?
Sure.
Like if you're texting somebody and you're like, "Oh, I met her. Her name was Susie," and you're like, "Okay, it could be spelled with a Y or an IE," and you're like, you gotta have like, did I spell that right?
Yeah.
Or just jacking it all up completely because the name thing is like so key. You're like, guy can't even get my name right.
Yes, he can't spell.
Right, yeah.
How do you not know there's 4 Y's in Caitlin? I don't know.
Autocorrect. Yeah, I put it in the right way.
That's right. Yeah, I totally spelled that right, and I also spelled Jones SMITH. But so a little bit more about me. I love to I'm a consummate entrepreneur, so I'm always kind of looking at different opportunities or trying to try things out on the side. And it's normally consistent with things that I like. I also specialize in commercial real estate. I also, enjoy construction management and, service and stuff, coaching, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's I have a voracious appetite for adventure, and a lot of times it manifests through like business or opportunity or just trying something.
What we say about this business a lot of times is there's a lot of avenues of approach to be successful in real estate.
Yeah.
And like you said, you like these different things. Okay, take those angles towards whatever it is you need to buy or sell or whatever.
Yep.
And I'm an analytic. I will crunch numbers all day. You can do that in this business where in your job, you have a job description and it might not let you be the creative and the analytic at the same time.
Sure. Yeah.
And so you can be successful and you don't have to do all of the stereotypical
Stuff.
real estate stuff.
Yeah. And there's always like a manifestation that is probably going to be unique to you. And also those things kind of play on each other. Like I like building things, so it gives me a somewhat of a understanding as to like how something's actually built and like the components that it takes to get it put together. I mean, I like problem solving and strategizing, so it allows me to take an approach that might be a little different than somebody else who's like, have house must sell house. I'm kind of like, all right, well, what's the objective? How do we achieve that? Here's 10 different ways to do it. Here's why we're going to do it this way, blah blah blah. And not to say that somebody who just doesn't strategize the way I do is wrong, but I like the fact that I can take the things that I like and that I'm good at and kind of like marry them to what I do.
Right.
And it doesn't have to just be pigeonholed. Like if all you're doing is Dwight Schrute selling paper, it's like paper, that's what you're selling. And maybe some printers once you get bought by Sabre.
Right.
But
Deep dive.
But after that, sorry for the people who don't like The Office. But
somebody is giggling their butt off.
Yes. Thank you to our one listener.
Yeah, hit like and subscribe right now.
So yeah, I think I've rambled enough.
All right, Elliot, give us your 2 cents. Elliot's been really excited about this part.
Yes, he loves it.
Super excited. Super excited.
His wife, as representative, couldn't be here to speak on his behalf today.
Right. My short, brief synopsis is that I was basically born and raised in Georgia with a short hiatus in Florida, specifically Sarasota, just south of Tampa.
Yep.
Lived down there for, I don't know, maybe 6 years of my life, from like 3 to 7 or 9 or something like that. I don't remember. But I ended up finding myself in the audio production world by happenstance, really. I was in the band at the church, playing every Sunday morning, smaller church. My parents went there, had like a tight-knit family sort of thing. And one day the pastor just comes up and says, "Hey, you look smart, run the soundboard." Okay.
How often do you hear that? Hey, dude, you look smart.
You're smart, go figure it out.
But you said look smart. That's different.
Right. So I remember like reading the manual, and it's got all these engineering terms in there. I'm going, I don't know what any of this is. I think I was 16 at the time or something. So I kept doing that and actually ended up making a career out of it. Sort of fell into my lap. So for 6 or so years of my life, I worked for myself, just running sound for churches on Sundays and Wednesdays and whatever else was in between. And that kept me going for years. And I sort of felt that coming to a close. Ended up getting a regular job, which traveled a lot. I enjoyed it, but with a wife and a newborn at home, she didn't enjoy it. So she found me a new job, and I hated it. It was terrible.
Shout out to ex-employer who is watching.
Terrible. Awful. Well, I figured at the time, I've always wanted to work for myself. I like working for myself. I'm a terrible employee. I'm a bad employee. And to be quite frank, I don't really like working, just working. I like doing projects and making things happen.
The millennial of the group says.
Right.
I like getting fired after this podcast for adventure zone admission.
He's written his own.
I don't like working. Hire me.
If you're looking for someone.
I figured I could either go get another regular 9-to-5 job, or I could really step out and be the entrepreneur I've always wanted to be. And real estate seemed like it was just the likely choice, I guess. It made sense. My mom was already in real estate, which is probably why I didn't get in real estate earlier, because I don't want to do that. My mom's doing that. But I'd always been interested in architecture and homes. I mean, I'll drive around sometimes, just look at homes. Nobody's paying me to do that.
Yeah.
I just do it for fun. So it seemed like, well, that makes the most sense. I could, understand finance better. I can understand the housing market better. I've wanted to be an investor too and have rental properties. So real estate made sense. Getting into it, it definitely gives you a lot, it gives you a lot of knowledge base. There's a lot that goes on in real estate, and it touches so many different areas of so many different markets in life in the United States.
Yeah.
But I guess I got to talk about my family too. I have a family as well.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
All right, check the box. Next.
Check the box. Yeah.
I have a family.
I have a wife. Check. We've been married. We just celebrated 7 years.
Nice.
Wow.
So yeah, we got married young. I scooped her up young, and we started having kids young too, because I wanted them out of the house quick, right?
There you go.
So I got 2 kids, 1-year-old son, and a daughter who's she'll be turning 4 in August.
Sweet.
So she's getting old now, and she's 4 going on 15. All that sass.
She knows what's up.
Yeah. Daddy,
She knows-
don't talk to me.
She knows who's in charge.
She said that to me one day. I'm like, baby, what are you doing? Daddy, don't talk to me right now. Just you sit there. Whoa. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Who'd
yeah.
you learn that from? Mom.
Probably.
I learned it from watching you.
Yeah. It was not me. I'm the talkative one. It's my wife. Don't talk to me. I'm tired. Leave me alone.
So what I just learned is that you played something. And
I did.
What did you play?
I did play guitar.
Okay.
I've played guitar for 15 years, 17 years.
Acoustic or electric? Which is your preference?
I mean, electric's easier to play when you don't have calluses on your fingers anymore. Because I don't play anymore, so I'm not 17 years good. That's for sure.
Yes.
I have guitars on my wall so that people know that
That you know what a G chord is.
I know that this has strings and it makes noise.
Yeah.
And I love music.
Yeah.
Music's great. I love being involved in music. I mean, I still run sound on Sundays too, because I took a whole year off because I kind of felt burnt out from just doing it for so long. And after a little while, I missed it. So I'm glad that I'm back in, and I got a good friend of mine who had a church. It's his dad's church. Great group of people. I mean, it's fun now. It's not work. So
That's good.
that's why I took off a whole year. I didn't want to ruin it for myself. Audio is what I had stuck to the longest. I mean, I did it for like 15 years. Or have up to this date done audio for 15 years, and I didn't want it to be ruined by just working. So
That's good.
Yeah, but no, I'm the technical guy, so I got pushed off of music, which is I love music. I could do that all day, but I got pushed out of music and into the technical audio world because I look smart, right? You look smart.
You
figure it
back
out.
and blame that pastor.
I could, but
You said I looked smart. You
Yeah.
lied to me.
Brian, you play guitar. I see you as you don't even use a pick. Like, are you
I'm not. I'm probably
freestyle
like
guy?
Elliot, the 15-year novice.
yeah,
Got 1 year of experience that I've taken 15 years to get.
right.
When I played a lot, I was actually somewhat decent. Not great, but don't really. I'm actually playing tonight, and it's like the second time I've played in like 3 years. So, yeah, it's gonna get interesting
What do you mean
for sure.
playing tonight?
We're having like a worship night at church.
Cool.
And the
gotcha.
worship
So in
leader
front
asked
of
me to
people.
play guitar. Yeah. So
Nice.
it's very embarrassing. And I'll be doing a lot of like single strums. Blang.
A lot of tuning. I got to tune.
Oh.
again.
I just really want to let the room sing right now.
Exactly right.
I don't know what the notes are,
This chord.
let alone what the words are.
I have a guitar. I love playing it, and just to be completely truthful, I picked up a guitar to meet chicks, and then I learned Margaritaville, and I learned Crash by Dave Matthews,
Oh yeah,
and those are apparently the only two I needed when I met my wife.
there you go.
And the guitar's kind of been hanging up ever since.
Yep.
Elliot's played for 15 years to get 0 women. Johnny
yeah,
learned
that's
2 songs,
That's right.
batting 1,000.
I would love to
Got
think
the
it was
woman,
in
don't
part
need to
because
learn.
of the guitar, but certainly the motivating factor got put on the back burner. But no, I mean, it's one of those things. It's everybody who ever played guitar. When I said, how do you learn to play guitar? They said, just keep playing. It's the only thing. It's like, It's the only thing. You can't get taught. You can't watch YouTubes. You can't, none of those. I mean, maybe a tip here or there, but
maybe
at
learn
the end
your
of the day,
scales or
you just
something,
gotta,
right?
you gotta put it,
To
you just
pick
gotta
up,
put in the hours.
You just got to, but you like watching that
Just gotta
stuff,
do
you
it.
can get the structures and like.
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
learn-
There are tips to be
all that kind of stuff, but
had.
yeah, you just gotta do it.
You probably learn how you're doing it wrong, more than anything else. But
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't do it wrong, Johnny. It's music. It's art.
That's true.
oh God, thank you.
There
for
is
that.
no wrong.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Friend of
will
mine,
just
friend of
strong
mine
away.
tried to
I'm gonna
tell
come
me
in here
that
and
a
play
song
Crash.
that I wrote.
I'm gonna
just
come in here tomorrow
off
and
the
play
top of my head
Crash
was
for you.
wrong.
I can play
Can't do
Crash
that.
right now. Somebody give me a guitar.
I can't play that.
That's easy. I'll teach you. It's one of my 4 songs.
All right,
That took to get my
Elliot,
wife.
what's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, you know it. We all know it. What's my biggest pet peeve? My biggest pet peeve in general has become my biggest pet peeve in real estate too. Nobody answers their phone. Nobody calls back. But this is not, and it's not just real estate either.
No, this is in
This
life.
is I think it's from COVID. I think something happened after maybe the shortage of people working, but you call your insurance company, your health insurance company, you call anyone who's supposed to be working with you, you never hear from them.
And if you hear back, it's generally in a digital form. So you're like, hey, I called, I left you a message, and you'll get an email the next day. Hey, I got your voicemail. Here's my response.
Yeah.
If you're that lucky.
I don't even get that.
I'm with you though.
I don't even get that. I
Right.
get nothing. And then I have to follow up again.
Right.
Hey, I gave you a whole week to respond. I mean, we had septic tank issues. I got it pumped. Somebody come out there and pump it's great because, I'm going to pay them $500. But now I want somebody to come look at it to give me a quote on fixing the drain field. Yeah, you can't. You can't get that. I've talked to like 3 people. Oh, yeah. We'll come out.
Yeah.
Nope.
Same with lawn maintenance. It took me like 2 months to get a guy to come out to my house to do my lawn.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Let's press pause for 2 seconds because I'm pretty sure we're going to run a video.
No.
You get to clap again.
Is it going again?
I'm going to see if I can hack that thing so we can just let it roll.
Is it rolling?
Yeah.
Wait.
It's interesting because I'd never experienced anything like that until I went to Boston, where, there's like I think the population density is like 8,340 per square mile, whereas down here it's like, basically, versus down here it's like 100, 125.
Really?
Maybe, yeah. So like it was, I think I did the math one time. Where I lived in Boston was like 0.1% population. Downtown Atlanta was 0.1% of the population density of where we lived. It was just, it was a lot. Anyway, but so you just the fact that there's so many people in that little space meant there was a competition for every piece of property, every rental. And anything that was associated with those things. And if people be so busy, and what we've seen that right now, they're so busy that they can't really take the job, but if you'll pay them like an exorbitant amount, like I was talking to somebody the other day, he got quoted $300,000 to frame a house, just to frame the house. It was a 5,000 square foot house, so it was a large house, but it was not.
That's not huge.
No, like, and they were like, this guy very obviously is busy enough that he really doesn't want to do this job, but he can be incentivized to do it.
Right.
Like, and I never seen that before. I lived up there, but it's becoming more and more commonplace everywhere now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was COVID that kind of drove this change, which I've always said that I don't think COVID necessarily caused any of these changes, but it just exacerbated and highlighted the problems that we were already just kind of living with. But I think, I mean, with as far as like the workforce, now nobody wants to work. Well, I don't think anyone wanted to work before, but
Right.
But because of COVID, now it's like, well, shoot, now I don't really have to work, or now I have a different option, or more people are on board with me, and now it's not just me who doesn't want to work. A lot of people don't want to work, or we're fed up with what we were getting paid.
I think a lot of people also like chose to minimize their lives a little bit. Like, I don't need this fancy car. I don't need this fancy house. I'll just have a normal house and a normal car, and I don't need to keep up with the Joneses. And when people stop doing that, like even like in Megan's world, the medical world, where essentially like the people always wanted to work. They wanted to make as much money as they possibly could. Fast forward through COVID, they're like, yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm okay. I don't need to work 6 days a week. I'm okay with working 3 and having some time. And it's like that utility delta changed significantly.
Right.
But the funny thing is now it's normal versus people before that. Like, if you valued your time, it was like because you were wealthy or just because you're very well informed.
Right.
Yeah. The work culture in America is, from what I hear, much different than a lot of other countries where we're like, nope, gotta work.
Yep.
I think a lot of the Asian countries are sort of similar. They'll work, 6 or 7 days a week,
right?
And 10 to 14 hours a day.
Yeah, but in Europe, they'll
they'll
be gone for a month and a half, and that's normal.
Right. Yeah. Europe, you get a 2-month vacation every year, right?
Yep. 6
I'll
months.
take that.
6 months of mandated maternity leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's very, very, very different. And I mean, I think in some ways that people having a balance has been healthy, but it definitely has changed how things are. It's if people are only working 3 days a week, then it's going to take 2 people to do 6 days of work, and versus it used to only take 1. Yep. Of course, that person was probably highly unhealthy, very stressed out, and, undervalued themselves. But it's a whole nother conversation.
Let's wrap things up.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we went real sideways there with the words.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's right. That's tangential convos.
Yeah, we can. All
right, so we're gonna wrap up with dream car and your dream daily driver, because they wouldn't be the same for me. Elliot,
yes, absolutely.
Elliot, you're
okay.
The aficionado.
All right, dream car in general.
Yep.
Oh God. McLaren F1.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I couldn't go wrong with that. Or McLaren P1. I think a P1 would be pretty sweet too. I don't know. You'd have to go with an F1 though. Yeah. Once I first saw the F1, it was like, that's my car. I want that one. But that would be a terrible daily driver.
Yes.
So I think if you were to pick any daily driver, I think I'd have to pick a Bentley Continental GT.
That is fancy.
That is a nice selection.
I think that would be a really good daily driver. You got the best of both worlds, extremely luxurious, but also it comes in a V12. So
it's quick, it's sporty.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Yeah.
That is a good, excellent choice.
That's final offer or final.
There you go. I like that.
Final answer.
That's good.
B-Ray?
I mean, I've always been a Lamborghini guy.
Oh, me too. Don't take my answer.
I think I'd have to go a Lamborghini Huracan. Probably one of the special editions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember which ones are which, but they're pretty incredible. Either that or the Ferrari F48 488 Piso, I think that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, the 488 Pisa.
That's
yeah.
pretty.
Pista.
I saw one of those in Roswell, and I was just like, yeah, that's my dude. And yeah, daily driver. I think. I mean, I love daily driving our Tesla. I think I would either get like a suit, the like top of the line Tesla, maybe like the S Performance or something for a daily driver is dream daily driver.
Model S Plaid.
I don't really need the Plaid. I don't need to go that fast. Or
make all your
it'd be
passengers
that,
puke every time you.
it'd be that a Taycan.
Oh yeah.
Or the Audi
e-tron GT.
e-tron
Ooh,
GT.
see the e-tron. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of those three. I don't know.
Yeah.
You kind of put me on the spot.
The Taycan and the e-tron are it's
well,
the same platform.
I love the Panamera, but I also love electric cars. So like I think for a daily driver, I think that would probably be the
you can't beat the
4Runner.
acceleration of an electric car.
No, it's so fun. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
All right, John.
So they say when you want to show that you're making it, you get a Ferrari, but when you've made it, you get a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So I've always been a Lamborghini. I had the Lamborghini Countach picture on my wall as a kid, and I still want one. I understand they are beasts to drive. Like almost like they're brutal. They beat you up. They're
terrible,
hard to drive. Horrible to
Yeah.
drive. But I would love. That's still my. Since you took Huracan, I'm gonna
That's what you
I'm
want,
gonna
a
stick with the
Countach.
Countach.
Oh,
I'm gonna
man.
stick with the
The new Countach?
And the original Countach.
The original
from
Countach,
from
yeah.
the late 70s.
Yeah,
Oh, that
well,
new one-
yeah. I
that
think
new one's
mid '80s
incredible.
for
The
me
new
is
one
when
is
it
pretty
when
sweet.
it peaked.
It's built on the Aventador platform.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And so, I mean, anything from that family, but that would have to be my dream car. And then, and the cool thing about that is my wife's actually on board with that. Like, she knows that my life goal was to have a Lamborghini in the garage, and somehow she's like, "Let's get you that Lamborghini." And, we might have to put $50 a month away for till we
Till you're 97.
right. But, and then daily driver, I don't know enough about the Audi e-tron GT, but I've seen the commercials, and they crank my engine in the context of this conversation. Yeah. But we talked about brand new Audi RS7. I'm gonna tell you why, because the RS7 still has a hatchback, and I can get real estate signs in that car. And so from a daily driver perspective, I know I can still do my job and still like carry tools and a sign post and still run up to the Home Depot and carry something, still throw a bag of gravel in the back. And then, but, still.
That hurts my heart to hear.
Throwing gravel in the back.
I don't like people eating in my car, let alone throwing like
so that's
material.
well. So I mean, it's behind the back. Anything behind the back seats? That's kind of open game.
Well, you got to get the trunk liner at least.
Okay, yes, I'll get the custom Audi.
Get the trunk
We know
liner.
who's committed to their job.
Yeah.
We're gonna be like, sorry, I can't pick up that gravel because I drove the wrong car.
Exactly.
Golf
Sorry,
clubs
I
don't.
drove the Lamborghini today. No gravel pickup will be
That's
happening.
right.
It's too much room.
All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this this episode. We are not good at the talking about ourselves, and then the other part about this business, it's supposed to be about self-promotion, and we're not good at that either. We're way behind on announcing our closings and our sales, and
Sure.
it's the funny part about this business where you can be really good at all the things, but if you're not good at the promotional part, which is part of why we have a team, so we can promote together, drive each other's, promotions. But anyway, that's why we wanted to get this out. All the comments in the world, please, just don't hurt our feelings. Otherwise,
I'm fine with
for
hurt
Elliot,
feelings.
Brian, and Johnny, we'll see you in about a week. Thanks, y'all.